Wonderful Stories for Children by Hans Christian Andersen. The Naughty Boy. There once upon a time an old poet, such a really good old poet. One evening he sat at home. It was dreadful weather out of doors. The rain poured down, but the old poet sate so comfortably and in such good humor beside a stove, where the fire was burning brightly and his apples were merrily roasting. "There will not be a dry thread on poor souls who are out in this weather," said he, for he was such a good poet. "Oh, let me in! I am freezing, and I am so wet!" cried the voice of a little child outside. It cried and knocked at the door, whilst the rain kept pouring down, and the wind rattled at all the windows. "Poor little soul," said the poet, and got up to open the door. There stood a little boy. He had not any clothes on, and the rain ran off from his long yellow hair. He shook with the cold. If he had not been taken in, he would most surely have died in that bad weather. "Thou poor little soul," said the old poet, and took him by the hand. "Come in, and I will warm thee, and thou shalt have some wine, and a nice roasted apple, for thou art a pretty little boy." And so he was. His eyes were like two bright stars, and although the water ran down from his yellow hair, yet it curled so beautifully. He looked just like a little angel, but he was pale with the cold, and his little body trembled all over. In his hand he carried a pretty little bow, and was quite spoiled with the rain, and all the other colors of his beautiful little arrows ran one into the other with the wet. The good old poet seated himself by the stove, and took the little boy upon his knee. He wrung the rain out of his hair, warmed his little hands in his, and made some sweet wine warm for him. By this means the rosy color came back to his cheeks. He jumped down upon the floor, and danced round and round the old poet. "Thou art a merry lad," said the poet. "What is thy name?" "They call me Love," replied the boy. "Dost thou not know me?" "There lies my bow. I shoot with it, thou mayest believe. See now, the weather clears up, the moon shines." "But thy bow is spoiled," said the old poet. "That would be sad," said the little boy, and took it up to see if it were. "Oh, it is quite dry," said he. "It is not hurt at all. The string is quite firm. Now I will try it." And with that he strung it, laid a bow upon it, and took his aim, and shot the good old poet right through the heart. "Thou canst see now my bow is not spoiled," said he, and laughing as loud as he could, ran away. What a naughty boy! To shoot the good old poet, who had taken him into the warm room, who had been so kind to him, and given him nice wine to drink, and the very best of his roasted apples. The poor poet lay upon the floor and wept, for he was actually shot through the heart. And he said, "Fie! What a naughty boy that Love is! I will tell all good little children about him, that they may drive him away before he makes them some bad return." All good children, boys and girls, to whom he told this, drove away that naughty little lad. But for all that he has made fools of them all, for he is so artful. When students go from their lectures, he walks by their side with a book under his arm, and they fancy he too is a student, and so he runs an arrow into their breasts. When young girls go to church, and when they stand in the aisle of the church, he too has followed them. Yes, he is always following people. He sits in the great chandelier in the theater, and burns with a bright flame, so that people think he is a lamp, but afterwards they find something else. He runs about the king's garden, and on the bowling green. Yes, he has once shot thy father and thy mother through the heart. Ask them about it, and then thou wilt hear what they say. Yes, indeed, he is a bad boy, that Love. Do thou never have anything to do with him. He is always running after people. Only think, once upon a time, he even shot an arrow at thy good old grandmother. But that is a long time ago, and it is past. But thus it is, he never forgets anybody. Fie, for shame, naughty love! But now thou knowest him, and thou knowest what a bad boy he is. Hopefully you enjoyed that, boys and girls. Wanted to try something just a little different. That was from the book Wonderful Stories for Children by Hans Christian Andersen, and it was called The Naughty Boy. Leave a like, favorite if you enjoyed this. I screwed up there a couple times, but we'll see how people think about this. Talk to you later, boys and girls. Bye.